Yes.
and his role in the case, because now clearly he has a role in the case.
Yes.
And that's why we want to separate those two issues.
Yes.
So that we don't end up blurring the...
Fair enough.
Yeah,
enough.
I think we are clear on
I'm
that.
much guided.
Thank you for that.
Alright. Utaeleza sasa ule atatranslate kwa Kikuyu kwa sababu mimi siwezi ongea Kikuyu directly. Unaweza kaeleza
Your name again?
Kenobi Agoge.
He appears as this witness statement is at page number 1 and page number 18. Tambulisha venye unajitambulishanga kikawaida.
Wewe taka kikuwa kitambulisho. Wewe tamani tu makumu hodera majikitu.
Kenobi Agoge ndiye iko kutambulisha yangu na ni muthuri Mũgĩkũyũ wa kĩama
Huyu wa chama ya
na nĩ niĩ nyitĩire mũthĩgi wa mwaki wakwa na twĩtaga wa Ndũhi.
na yeye ameshikilia
Uongozi
wa hiyo chama.
Is chairman?
wapi?
Wa Ndũhi,
Wandohi.
Gatũra sub-location,
Gatũra sub-location.
Kariara location,
Kariara
location,
location.
Gataga sub-county,
Gatanga sub-county.
Murang'a county.
How long have you held that chairmanship?
Uikarite ule chamani kwa hii rigana atia.
Ndĩraruta mĩaka 10 rĩu.
Umeweza kuandika statement na sisi?
Na andikite statement na wakili na official wakili.
And umeweka sahihi yako katika statement.
Nĩndekĩrire.
Ungependelea mahakama ichukue statement yako kama ushahidi wako kamili?
No nyende maũkiuge.
Kwa vile uko hapa nataka tu tujiweke mpaka kutokana na interaction yako na Mzee Mboro Kinani. Kwa hivyo unaweza tu katueleza kwa kifupi.
Na utuelea mwahusiana na Kinani. Ule mwe inena.
No njuge Mboro tũtiaine mũno no ndetirwo igongona gwake.
Hajui Mboro sana lakini aliitwa ceremony kwake.
Nĩ ũndũ wa kũrathima mwana ũmwe wake.
Kubariki mtoto wake mmoja.
Na ngĩgĩthiĩ na tũkĩruta igongona rĩu mũthenya ũcio Mboro eho.
Na wakaenda wakafanya hiyo ceremony huyo Mzee Mboro asikuwa.
Na Mboro akĩrathima mũirĩtu ũcio wake na ciana ciake.
Na akabariki huyo mtoto wake na watoto wake.
Na andũ au nĩ tũkoragwo na ngoima na njohi ha Mũgĩkũyũ.
Wanakuanga na mbuzi na pombe ya Wakikuyu.
Na ciothe icio mũthenya nĩ arathimire andũ ake nacio.
Hizo zote mzee alibariki watu wake wote nazo.
Na akĩrĩ athuri a nyũmba na atumia a nyũmba.
Na kulikuwa na watu wa familia wa mama na wa baba.
Na ciana ciake.
Na watoto wake walikuwa wametoka Gilgil.
No ndonirio ũmwe.
Bati alionyeshwa mmoja.
Nĩ twakĩrĩkia igongona no gũcoka ndacokire na gwakwa.
Wakati walimaliza hiyo ceremony alirudi kwake.
Unaweza kumbuka hiyo ceremony ilikuwa mwaka gani?
2023 November, October, September.
2023 September.
Na katika ile harakati ya kufanya ile function Mzee Kinani alifanya nini ambayo ungesema ni njia ya Ukikuyu kufanya hilo jambo?
Kinani
ama his role that he conducts in.
Yeah.
wĩra wa mbũrũ ndwarĩ mũingĩ tondũ nĩ kũmũnengera indo thutha wa gũthĩnja ngoima tũmũnengere indo nĩgetha
Kazi yake
arathime
haikuwa mingi, ilikuwa wakichinja mbuzi.
halafu mbũri ndĩthĩnjagwo nĩ andũ othe
Mbuzi haichinjwi na watu wote.
kũrĩ arĩa mathĩnjaga
Kuna wao wanachinja.
tondũ nyama nĩ cikĩrutanagio ũrĩa ciagĩrĩire
Nyama zinatoanishwa venye
na ti
zinakuwa.
ciothe ihũthĩkaga igongona-inĩ rĩa kũrathimana.
Na si zote zinatumika wakati wa baraka.
He nyama iria cioyagwo igakĩrathima ikarathimana o igongona rĩ mĩrathimanĩre yarĩo.
Kuna nyama zinachukuliwa zinabariki.
Yaani-
Kila ceremony iko na mpangilio.
Na nĩcio rĩu ndarengerire mũthuri ũcio nĩgetha arute wĩra nacio akĩrathima.
Na tusolilikatia huyo mzee ili afanye kazi nazo, ibariki.
Macoke marĩanĩre nacio tondũ no nginya makĩrĩanĩre akĩmarathima.
Alafu wakule pamoja ili wabariki.
Na kwa hivyo mzee Kenani alifanya hayo yote akiwa kama Mkikuyu ama akiwa kama nini?
Rĩu hau ndihota gũtarĩria kana arĩ mũthuri Mũgĩkũyũ
Hawezi elezea kama alikuwa mzee wa Mkikuyu.
tondũ mũthenya ũcio niĩ twatindire nake nĩguo wakwa warĩ wa mbere kũmuona
Juu hiyo siku tulishinda na yeye, ndio ilikuwa siku yangu ya kwanza kumuona,
nginya kũingĩra mũciĩ ũcio wake.
hata kuingia kwa hiyo boma yake.
Thank you, Your Honor. That's all for this witness.
Oh yes.
74 years. Mburu Kinani alikuwa na umri wa miaka ngapi?
Mimi sikujua umri wake
Hakujua umri
kwa vile hata hatukuongea alizaliwa mwaka gani.
Juu hawakuongea alizaliwa mwaka gani.
Na kueleza kuwa alikuwa na miaka 92 na kwa hivyo alikuwa mzee kwako.
Alikuwa ni mkuru kuongera.
Alikuwa mzee kwako. Kati yake na wewe nani anajua mila zaidi na hiyo umri yake?
Ndiathiĩte kũu nĩ ũndũ wa kũmenya mira mũno
Sikuwa nimeenda huko juu ya kujua.
tondũ ona igongona rĩtithiagwo atĩ nĩ mũndũ ũrĩa mũkũrũ gũgũkĩra atĩ no ũngĩkũrutĩra igongona.
Juu ceremony haiendangwi na mtu ule mzee.
Harĩ arĩa makoragwo marĩ amũre a kũruta igongona.
Kuna wale selected wa kufanya hiyo ceremony.
Tunamuuliza mila pia mtu anaifahamu kupitia umri na kupitia muda ya kuishi hapa duniani. Ni hivyo? Ni hivyo. Kwa hivyo Mburu Kinani nawe, Mburu Kinani angejua mila kukuliko. Ukweli? Mburu Kinani angefahamu mila.
I will object to that question. I mean, you cannot give an opinion as to what somebody else who's dead. You can rephrase the question, and he had started very well. Was it just not for that question? That's why I was very silent.
Again, Mr. Kinyanjui, the court to fit a witness in a cross-examination when you are cross-examining.
Yona, do you know perhaps why that is why I took great exception and I say that this kind of questions, in as much as they're being brought in cross-examination, and they can be called as rhetoric, these are in actual sense scandalous questions, because if you are to rather take the scenario of this courtroom, it would be kind of scandalous probably to ask me whether I think I know the law more than you do. I mean, in what basis would I be saying that?
Again, I will, your colleague is listening. If he wants to change the line of cross-examination, he can. But I maintain that if you look at the fullness of the purpose for cross-examination, ideally which is to impeach the character of a witness, question the credibility of the evidence they are leading, again, I may not be able to stop you.
Yes.
But I know you can be able to put the Humpty Dumpty together now when you rise to do the examination.
Yeah, fair enough, Your Honor.
Yes.
Wengine wote umekutana naye kando na hiyo siku.
Asha.
Hapana.
Unafahamu kuwa Mburu Kinani alikuwa na boma na Naivasha Gilgil?
Ajirire hĩndĩ ĩyo.
Alimwambia hiyo siku.
Kwa hivyo huyu ni mtu alikuwa mtu mgeni kwako. Alikuwa mtu mgeni zaidi kwako.
Alimgeni wako.
Ndauga tuonanie nake mũthenya ũcio ndaruta igongona na ndiamũĩ mbere ĩyo na nĩ kwĩrĩrwo erĩirwo niĩ tondu tuti handu tweine mbere yo.
Walionana hiyo siku walikuwa wanafanya audition, na nikuelezewa alielezewa huyu hakuwa wako wakijuana.
Asante. Nani alikuita kwenye ile boma?
Kuna mtu mmoja, mundu umwe wa kiama na niwe wamerire nie nigetha njoke nyingire ku.
Kuna mtu wa chama alikuelezea yeye ili na yeye aingie.
Mburuki nani alikualika kwa hiyo boma?
Erirwo niguo manjitire na familia yake.
Aliambiwa ili wakamuita na familia yake.
Nimemuuliza kama Mburuki nani alimwalika kwa ile boma.
Uronio kana Mburuki kinani kana ni amwitete igogona ine.
Nie ndakinya kuu niwe ndonirio na ngirwo niwe uratumanite njethwo na ngigithie ku.
Wakati alifika huko aliambiwa ni yeye alikuwa amesema atafutwe.
Ulipigiwa simu na Mburuki nani uende pale?
Mboro nie twaheanire thimu riu ndi kuu.
Awalipeana simu akiwa huko.
Mlipoenda pale mlienda kwa msingi ya nani? Mtoto mgani wa Mburuki nani?
Mwathire kwa mwana ule kwa Mburuki nani?
Twathire nyumba ĩrĩa yarĩ ya mũtumia wake ũrĩa mũkũrũ.
Walienda kwa ile nyumba ya ule bibi yake mzee.
Bibi alikuwa hai?
Aisha.
Nani basi alikualika kando na Mburuki nani kwenye ile nyumba?
No awitete hata tiga Mburuki manike kina nile no awitete nyumba hiyo.
Tuwa
No gwa awitete nyumba hiyo.
Ciana ciake ciarĩ oho banyitanĩire na ithe.
Watoto wake walikuwa wameshikana na baba yao.
Watoto wa gani? Nani na nani?
Oh no.
Nĩndĩrona Wanjikũ harĩa na nĩwe warutagĩrwo igongona. Nĩndĩrona Wairimu harĩa no ũcio ndakĩrutagĩrwo igongona.
Hapo anafanywa hiyo ceremony.
Mbona yule alikuwa anafanyiwa hiyo? Aides huyo Edith Wairimu alikuwa anafanyiwa hiyo matambiko kwa sababu gani? Ni nini ilikuwa shida?
That is not what the witness has said. They have said Edith was present, but she did not partake in the ceremony. He has actually pointed out Wanjiko.
Okay. 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 Ana Wanjiko alikuwa anafanyiwa nini hiyo siku? Sababu gani alikuwa analeta sherehe kama hiyo kwa boma?
Gũtirĩ andũ matahĩtanagia mũciĩ na mwana no mahĩtanie na mũngĩona mahĩtia nĩ marũngagwo na he mahĩtia matangĩrũngwo ũguo na kanua.
Mtoto na mzazi wanaweza kosana na kuna makosa hayazifanywa bila ceremony.
So kwa hivyo alikuwa amekosana na mzazi.
Kũu ndio nĩ moĩ tondũ mũthee nĩwe warathimire ciana. Niĩ ndiathiĩte kũu kũrathima mwana wake kana ciana ciake. We Mbũrũ nĩwe warathimaga na no mũhaka niĩ ingĩathire ta mũthuri.
Bwana Mbũrũ alikuwa bariki watoto wake, yeye alienda kama mzee.
Mbona alikuwa anabariki mtoto mmoja na si wale wengine?
Ũcio nĩwe ũĩ kĩrĩa gĩatũmaga arathime ũcio no ũkorwo nĩ arathimĩte acio angĩ.
Yeye anajua kwa nini alikuwa anabariki huyo.
Unafahamu wakati huo alikuwa ametupa nguo za mzazi kwenye boma yao?
Asha.
Unafahamu kuwa mzee alipewa sumu wakati mmoja?
Ndio.
Unafahamu kuwa huyu mzee aliambiwa asikanyage ile boma?
Ndio.
Na wakati huo mzee alikwambia anafaa kuzikwa Gatanga? Tuko hapa juu ya mazishi, hatuko hapa juu ya matambiko.
Tutire ũndũ tũngĩaririe ũhoro wa gĩkuũ gĩake tondũ icio agĩrĩirwo nĩ kwĩra famĩlĩ yake no ti niĩ.
Hawangekuwa wameongea mambo ya kufa kwake, angeambia familia yake lakini si yeye.
Unafahamu Mburu alikuwa Mkristo katika ACK Langalanga Nakuru?
Asha ndio.
Unafahamu kuwa mzee pale kwake Gilgil ameitenga sehemu ya kujenga kanisa?
Ndio.
Unafahamu kuwa mzee katika kanisa ako kwa chama ile ya wanaume Men Fellowship?
Ndio.
Umesema kuwa wewe ni msimamizi wa kikundi kinajiita Kiama. Kuwa wewe ni chairman wa wale. Ulichaguliwa na nani?
athuri arĩa manyitanĩire mwaki-inĩ nĩo macagũraga mũtongoria wao.
Wazee wenye wako kwa hiyo jumuiya ndio wanachaguanga.
Ulichaguliwa lini? Ulichaguliwa lini?
Ndoiga ndĩna mĩaka 10 ndĩ gĩtĩ-inĩ kĩu.
Ako na 10 years.
Nini inadhibitisha ama inaonyesha kuwa wewe ni chairman wa hicho kikundi?
Gũtirĩ document ũheagwo, no korwo nĩ ndakĩrĩtwo njuke no certificate igĩũka nayo nĩ twandĩkithĩtie gwa kacha.
Hakuna document ako nayo, lakini akiambiwa kuje nayo wamejiandikisha kwa kasha.
Kwa hivyo ana chochote. Tusonge mbele. Nani alikupa nafasi ama ruhusa ya kuja hapa kutoa shahidi kwenye hii kesi kwa niaba ya Kiama wa Kiama? Nani alikuruhusu kuja kwa niaba ya chama kwa kesi ambayo ina watu binafsi? Kuna popote walikuidhinisha ukuje? Jaji umesikia akiuliza mtu hapa kama amepewa ruhusa ya kuingia. Nani alikupa ruhusa ya kuja hapa kwa niaba ya Kiama wa Kiama ambacho ni kikundi cha kimila?
Njũkĩte gũkũ thutha wa wakiri gũkorwo nĩ maikarĩte gĩikaro na bamĩrĩ ĩno.
Amekuja juu wakili wamekaa chini na familia hapo.
Na maikĩte ta hĩndĩ ĩyo maikarĩte thĩ.
Na wakamuita wakiwa hiyo wakati walikuwa
hau nĩho ndakinyĩrĩirwo nĩ gũtuĩka no njũke igoti-inĩ.
Hapo ndio aliambiwa kuja kotini.
Unafahamu kuwa mzee alizika bibi yake Magdalene Gilgil mwaka jana?
Hicho ndio hiyo.
That's all.
Nitakuuliza tu maswali kidogo ndio uweze sasa kutuletea yani you bring the light, yani kulingana na yale maswali ambayo umeulizwa. Umeulizwa neno yote. Unaweza eleza ulijikuta pale na hiyo ndio procedure ambayo unajua inafuatango?
It is the mode akigena
Watu wenye wanafanya hiyo ceremony wanafanyanga.
Na wakati ulipoenda sorry. Wakati ulipoenda pale baada ya kuambiwa ya kwamba una mtu mwingine wa hiyo boma ambaye alikuja akasema wewe ufai kuingia pale. Pokuwa unaulizwa maswali uliulizwa kana kwamba Bwana Mboro kama angetaka
wetu wake.
Mzee anaongea akiwa uhai, anasema venye anataka.
Angĩkorwo ndarahota kuga hĩndĩ ĩyo muoyo,
Ikiwa hakuweza kusema hiyo wakati,
family no imenye ũrĩa ĩgũthika mũthuri ũcio.
family ndio inajua venye itasika huyo mzee.
Ĩngĩtuĩka family ndĩnaiguana,
Ikiwa familia haikusikizana,
makamenya kana nĩ igoti-inĩ megũgĩthiĩ nĩgetha magĩethe ũteithio kũu.
sawa wajue kama wanaenda kotini ili watafute usaidizi.
kuna sherehe nyingine ambayo umeitwa kando na hiyo na Bwana Mboro?
Aisha.
That's all. All right, thank you.
Nyawari ya kitu kwa no ikare kwa hiyo mtoto kwa hiyo Mungu isaidie. Mungu isaidie.
All the way to number 16. Kizungu ama Kiswahili?
Kizungu.
Kizungu.
Your Honor, my name is Moses Moya Maina. I am a Kikuyu elder, and so as a Kikuyu, we go by our clan name, our family name, and our age set. So Moses Moya Maina, my clan name or Mohirega is Mojiro. My family name is Bareaga Dege. My age set is Rikariamwagi. And I'm not only a member of the Kiama Kiama, or the Kikuyu Elders Association, the National Kikuyu, the National Kikuyu Cultural Association, but I'm also the chairperson of Limuru Sub-County.
Just take that again, we need you to be slow on that introduction.
Okay.
That is what will make the court understand.
Let me do that. Good.
As giving us the kind of evidence we are looking for. So you are saying you are a member of what?
I'm a member of the Kiama Kiama. Kiama Kiama is the National Agikuyu Council of Elders.
Yes, I think what the Honorable Magistrate is saying is that you look also at his pen because
nice.
it's noting down what you're
great.
saying.
Okay.
Yes.
Great. So I'm a member of Kiama Kiama. Kiama Kiama is the Agikuyu National Council of Elders. Not only am I a member, I'm also tasked as the Limuru Sub-County Chairperson of the Kiama Kiama.
You're saying you are Alimuru?
Limuru Sub-County Chairperson. Chairperson. Kiambu County Secretary General.
Now, do you have anything before this court that you can demonstrate that?
True, I do.
Have you carried it with you?
I have with me our Kiama Kiama trademark. Same one what he has. That's our Kiama Kiama trademark. I also have with me our Kiama Kiama certificate at the Registry of Societies. And I also have with me my personal registration details as per required by the Kiama Kiama registry. Yeah,
I think I have copies. I can donate some to my colleague.
yes. Your Honor, I'm also honored and privileged to serve as at the CUC, Limuru chapter, Court Users Committee, Limuru chapter. Not only am I a member, but I'm also conjoined by our Honorable Gerard Magori as a team of experts who we sit at the AJS, seeking alternative justice system, especially on civil and domestic issues in Limuru Sub-County.
You know, anyone listening to you can think that's all you do for a living. But can you tell us what you do for a living?
Thank you so much, Council. Moses Muhia Maina is a vet by profession. I'm a private practitioner by profession, Daktari wa Mifugo. I practice within Limuru Sub-County and Kiambu County and its environs, so as Nairobi, Mai Mahiu, Nakuru, and the likes.
Thank you. Now, you've been called here as an expert witness.
Yes.
To give basically what would be your expertise opinion over the dispute before us.
True.
Can you tell us whether you know the deceased person anyway? Do you know him? Have you ever met him?
Good question. I personally do not know the deceased person. I've never met him. Neither have I met any member of the family.
When did you see the plaintiffs?
I saw the plaintiffs yesterday, and so are the defendants.
Thank you. So who has invited you to court today?
I got an invitation through Council Kenyanjui, seeking cultural guidance on the way of the Agikuyu cultural customary law in terms of burial and in terms of inheritance, sharing, and the likes.
But today we're only going to restrict ourselves to the issue of burial.
Good.
Okay.
Good.
And the dispute before us.
Very good.
Okay.
Very good.
Now, you wrote a statement with us.
Yes. Your Honor, it truly does have my national ID number. My ID number is as written below, 255-44058.
Therefore, you confirm that you are acquainted with this witness statement.
Yes, I am.
and I would like to produce that witness statement as part of evidence. Now, the court is going to look at this, and we are trying to also save on time.
True.
So I want to go directly to the issue of when a man who is deemed to be a Gikuyu by culture, when it comes to his wishes as to the place of burial and so forth, what usually happens?
Thank you so much. For the record of this court, Your Honor, the way of life of the Gikuyu man, especially in terms of burial, it is clearly stated in our Kikuyu customs, which is not backdated. Kikuyu is progressive, up to date. The things we found our ancestors doing are the same things we're doing ourselves right now. And so, once a man is deceased, it is the duty and the obligation of his wife, his kids, and the clan, the larger clan. In a case where the man is polygamous, just in case a man is polygamous, because in our Kikuyu cultural setup, we are allowed to be polygamous, just like the law also allowed us. Today, before you go to your church wedding, you ask whether you're going to join a monogamous or polygamous wedding. And so it is allowed by the Kikuyu to be polygamous. In case the man is polygamous, we stick with the first wife, who we call in Kikuyu Nyakiabi. Nyakiabi is the one who is entitled to get the burial rights of the husband alongside his firstborn or eldest child, be it be a man or be it be a lady. So these two have the right to pinpoint, just in case the man had not decided or had not indicated where he wishes to be rested. In a point that this particular man had not called on any of the kids or any of the family members, more so the first wife, who we call Nyakiambi. The second wife is called Nyakiaburi in Kikuyu. The other wives are called, the third wife is called Mutei Itora. Mutei Itora. And the fourth and the consecutive wives are called Airu, or co-wives. Airu. All the rest have no particular names. They are called Airu or co-wives. The funny thing with the Kikuyu man is that this first wife, who we call Nyakiabi, this first wife, who we call Nyakiabi, is the one who has the obligation to introduce all these other wives to the husband. He's the one who seeks the second wife for the husband. He's the one who seeks the third wife for the husband. He's the one who seeks the fourth wife for the husband. And so he's the one who welcomes these 4 or 5 or 6 wives into this homestead. He's also this particular wife is also the one who has the right to she has a right to a larger share when it comes to property. Why? Because in case this man, and it so happens, if a man is polygamous, just to ensure that we do not have infights, kids saying, once I die, I want to be buried next to my father. Once I die, I want to be buried next to my mom. If I die, I want to be buried next to my brother or my sister. Just to avoid all those fights. Once this polygamous man pinpoints a place, he can either seclude a graveyard or a gravesite as a family gravesite that cannot be shared by any of the family members or cannot be passed on over. That remains a common land for that particular family. Being a common piece of land, it indicates that any of the family members, any of the kids who belong to this particular man, or any of the wives who belong to this particular man can be married, can be buried there, or the grandsons, or the grandchildren, or whoever. In case, in such a case where this particular man had not done that, then the grandson, the first grandson, is obliged by our culture to pinpoint where this particular man can be buried. Why? Why are we picking the first grandchild? Because he takes after the name of this particular deceased man. And so the first grandchild has the obligation and the right to pinpoint with the clan and the family where we are going to bury our grandfather, or where this particular man is going to be married, or where this particular lady, if it's a lady, will be buried.
Now, when it comes to a man communicating his wishes to be buried,
Yes.
how is it done? Just the process, or rather, the whole logistic that comes with explaining, or rather telling people where he wants to be buried.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
The funny thing with Kikuyu custom, the Kikuyu custom does not fight with common law, the English common law. Neither does it fight with our religious practices. If I may cite the Bible, Abraham called upon his sons. Jacob did the same. Jacob called Reuben, who was the eldest son, and gave particular orders that in the event of my death, I would wish to be buried in Canaan. I would wish to be buried maybe in such a pinpointed place. But let me come to us directly. For the Kikuyu man calls a clan meeting or a family meeting when he needs to pinpoint where he would wish to be buried. So he calls for a clan meeting, he calls for a family meeting, he speaks directly to the eldest child of the Nyakiabi, of the first wife. Speaks directly to the first child, speaks directly to the wife if the wife is alive. If the wife is not alive, he goes directly to the kids and he gives his wishes. And at that particular time, there must be witnesses. A witness who does not belong to that clan. A witness who does not belong to that clan must be present at that particular time when that mzee is doing that. When that mzee is giving out his will or his wish of his burial site, or when he's sharing his property, he must call an external witness who is going to stand in future and say, yes, I was there, just like he signed, if anything was written. If nothing was written, verbal word was more than enough for a Kikuyu. Writing has just come the other day. So verbal word was more than enough for a Kikuyu man. A Kikuyu man would also take it further, would also go further, and maybe call out the brothers or the sisters and talk about how he particularly would want to be given a send-off.
Okay. Yes. Now, of course, with the way life is dynamic, and it's always not really assured that you'll be there tomorrow.
Yes.
Sometimes a man would be sick, and he would wish to disclose his wishes.
Yes.
And in the age of technology, we
Yes.
have mobile phones,
True.
we have cameras.
True.
So if a man is extremely sick, what would happen in that circumstance?
In a case where a man is extremely sick and probably feels that he's going to pass out any other time, with technology, with mobile phones, maybe he could ask someone to make a phone call. He could either do a text. He could either maybe have some video coverage like we have here. But if any of this message was to be passed via media, must be directed to a particular person. And that particular person is none other than the eldest son or the eldest child. Must be directions should be given directly. This particular mzee gives directions directly. For instance, I pick a name like Njoroge. Njoroge, I want to say to you that this is my last wish, and once I'm off, I would wish to be buried either in my mahio or either in Kikuyu or such a thing. If a video does not pinpoint, if a text message does not pinpoint, if anything written does not pinpoint to whom that message is delivered, then it is taken as null and void in our Kikuyu customs, because Kikuyu is as direct as just as direct as the law is.
Okay.
Kikuyu does not diverge. Kikuyu pinpoints directly, and so it is when it comes to pinpointing where one would want to be buried.
Yes.
So be it be media, be it be written, be it be verbal, he must address a particular person. And at this time, it should be the Nyakiambi, who is the first wife. If the first wife is not there, then the kids should be addressed.
Okay. Now, You've told us, or rather, let's go to a very, and I wish this to be my last point where I want us to have some sense of directions of, where a man marries a woman with children that are not his.
Yes.
What is the place of those children in that home?
Thank you so much. Like I said, a Kikuyu man is polygamous. A Kikuyu man is generous, and of course, you cannot be polygamous without wealth. So we had particular things that we would look into for one to be allowed to be polygamous by the clan and by society. You must be wealthy. You must be of good health. You must be of good mental health. And so at this particular time, if a man picks a wife who had bore some other children before this lady was married to this particular man, there is a cultural ceremony that should be conducted. And that cultural ceremony is conducted at the first home, the Nyakiambi's home, who should welcome this wife and these 2 or 3 kids who have come with this particular wife. And this particular ceremony, in Kikuyu, we call it Goshiara Mwana na Bori. Goshiara na Bori. Jiarano ya Bori. In English, it clearly means being bathed. You're bathed using a sheep or a ram. This particular mzee can also wish to adopt, not necessarily kids who have come with a wife. If he also wishes to adopt other kids, he must go through the same, this kid must go through the same cultural ceremony. This cultural ceremony should be attended by the clan, because this ceremony is to enjoin these kids who are from another clan, which does not belong to this particular mzee. And so this mzee comes with this ram, calls his particular clan, his entire clan, and informs the clan, I have taken in this lady called Mary. For instance, Mary has a kid called Moses, and Mary had also a kid called Oboy. And these 2 will be my kids from today henceforth, and that's why I'm going to give you this ram. You eat this ram and bless this kid and accept them and enjoin them in my properties, in my wish, in my homestead, and from today henceforth they will be my kids. Why do we do that? We do that so that this particular mzee can also have the right to either pass on dowry when it comes to, if for instance is a son, he's delegated to pay bride price for this particular son when it comes to him seeking a wife. If for instance it's a lady, this mzee is going to receive bride price. If you receive bride price without carrying out that ceremony, then we believe that a curse is going to befall you. And it has befallen so many of them in our Kikuyu customs and in our Kikuyu culture. Why? Because you received what does not belong to you. It belonged to another particular man, and you did not break that tie. You didn't break that tie between that father who bore these kids and you who is going to bring up these kids. You who have taken up these kids or adopted the kids.
Okay. Now, if there's a particular reason, if at all there's a reason why, for example, the wishes of a deceased as to where he's to be buried cannot be carried out,
yes,
what would happen?
The Kikuyus believe so much, just like Catholics do. Catholics believes in praying for the souls, for the dead souls, and so do Catholics believe. And so do Kikuyus believe. We believe in the living dead. That our living dead spirits are alive, and our living dead spirits haunt us. And if you go against the wish and the will of the living dead, we will definitely await for a curse, await for an abomination in that particular home. We will definitely have to carry out very other many ceremonies. And besides,
Just to clarify that, Mr.
Moses it is.
Enjoy,
Yes.
sorry, referring to the advocate.
Yes.
Yes.
What, just take the question again.
If for a particular reason
Yes.
the wishes of a deceased cannot be carried out, what happens, or rather what would be the next step?
Good.
Yes, because I think the answer that he's giving,
Yes.
The deceased had left his wish and his will, and a particular clan decides to go against it, then that's
it is not issue.
For a reason
in
it
here.
cannot be carried out.
Yes.
Or for a reason it cannot be carried
Yeah,
out.
there's
Yes.
is a situation where, and I hope I'm getting you well, Mr. Kinyanjui.
Yes, yeah.
A situation where there may be wishes but that cannot be carried out.
Yes.
What would be the solution? How else then do we proceed?
Yes.
Is that a question you're
That
putting
is
to
the
witness?
question. Correct.
Yes.
Very correct.
Okay. That are going to hinder the will to be carried out. Then, in that case, a curse will befall the family, a curse will befall the clan, because it was the wish and the will of that particular deceased person to be buried wherever he or she had cited. We have instances where maybe the piece of land is now government land, where this particular man wished to be buried. Probably that would be one reason, probably, that would avoid the wish of the deceased to be carried out. If probably that is government land, then that particular clan should go back to the clan, go seek the first grandchild, and inform the first grandchild and give him enough reasons alongside the clan why we cannot be able to carry out this particular deceased will, why we cannot bury this particular deceased person where he wished to be buried. And it is the duty, as from that time we inform that grandchild, it is the duty of the grandchild to pinpoint where else suitable to bury this particular kid. And at that time, this deceased, this grandchild has no other option other than picking where his living dead are. Maybe the father is dead, or the mother is dead, or maybe one of the brothers is also dead. So this grandchild particularly picks where the father and the mother of this deceased person is. That's where that deceased person should be rested. That way, we will avoid so many cases.
All right. Now, on a scenario,
Yes.
that is now relevant to what we are coming to do here.
Yes.
There's a video of this man, Mr. Mboro Kenani. Have you seen it yourself?
No, I haven't.
Yona, that is where we were getting some technological support for us to view the video. It was supplied to us. It is part of the documents. I myself have it on my mobile phone, and I believe everybody else here might be having one. Yona, I do not know whether it is permissible, perhaps for me to play it to Mr. Mohia here through mobile phone, because I don't think whether you can use that computer or somebody else's phone that has that video.
First things first, was it
Correctly, Your Honor,
yes.
that I was not even supposed to file a witness. We are here to, dig for the truth. And I know eventually you might have a problem with the admissibility of that video. But for the purposes of this case, it is only proper and just that we allow him to remember. So there's a 4-year difference over this particular thing. But I also want us to tell us what is wrong about this video.
I think my first question would be, who is Nyinawanganga? Because I had Nyinawanganga.
The Nyinawanganga here we are talking about is the 4th wife to this Mzee.
The 4th wife of this Mzee. Now, who probably took the video? Because if the video, for me, we've seen several videos. I wish I knew. I would have come probably with another video that the right way that the Mzee should pass on the message. I would deduce 4 things from this video. I've just seen it for my first time. But the first thing and the first question that I'm going to ask myself is if this particular Mzee, did he ask whoever took the video to take it or record it? Or was it a conversation between, I hear it's a lady, was it a conversation between the lady or with the Mzee? back in 2020. So the video, the video to me does not seem intended by this particular mzee. Does not seem intended by this particular deceased.
And why do you say that?
I say that because in as much as the video is lacking several information. The video should start with let me just assume that it's me passing on for matters of this case. I would first of all state my name, and that is that would make that video admissible. My name is so and so. Just in case I pass on, I would want, or this would be my wish, but nobody should be asking me a question. Nobody should be interrogating me. I should be the one giving the message. I should be the one giving information, because I'm doing it willingly. I should not be coerced to, because to me it seems coerced. I should not be asked questions. On my wish bed, I mean, on my deathbed, I should state I should state willingly from my own self. First of all, state my name. Second, state that in an instance where I would pass on, I would wish to be buried at a particular place. Number two, I think our old man was also, yes, it is his wish to be buried, but in our Kikuyu culture, in our Kikuyu customs, a man should not be buried behind the house. And I think from what I heard, he said he would want to be buried in Mevawine, Muhuro Anyoba. In our Kikuyu customs, and I know most of us are Kikuyus, we normally bury our beloved ones at the front of our homestead. Why? Because we believe that these people are the owners of the land. So the most prime area of our land, culturally and customary, that is where we should bury our deceased persons. So I deduce the third error in the video. This video to me seems very short, seems intended.
Have you seen anywhere, maybe perhaps I can be accused of forwarding it to a particular area, but have you seen where it has started?
I did not see the start. It has no head nor tail. And again, I hear you say that the video was taken back in 2020.
Yes.
And the man passed on
2024.
2024. Those are 4 years down the line.
Yes.
Or maybe 3 years and a few months. If this particular man really meant it, if he really meant what he said in that video, then he had the right and the obligation to call his clanmen, call his brothers, call his sisters, call his kids, and emphasize on that video. If he never ever mentioned anything about that video for those particular 4 years, then I would simply state that the man was probably not willing to state those words, or was not even in his right sense of will. Maybe was driven or coerced or pushed to make a statement just because someone thought Mzee is going to die.
Thank you. Now, I wish to stop there. I understand that you are the two of you.
Yes, we are.
So your friend is going to come and cover.
True.
Yes, your colleague is going to come and cover the last bit.
Probably I can add on something. Yeah?
Yes, please.
Probably, with your permission, Your Honor, I can add on just some citation and some referral for the record of our case. We have had such a case and several cases. I would cite Wamboyo Otieno's case. Wamboyo Otieno versus Joash. Joash was the brother. The person who fought for SM Otieno's body and where he would be buried was not the wife, was his clanmen, was the clan back in 1987, and the case was ruled in favor.
That's wrong. Now, 97, SM had been buried 10 years.
I said 87.
I said 87.
I said 1987. Back in 1987, and the clan was granted the will and the wish to bury the deceased, but the wife was not deprived of the inheritance. I would also cite one last citing. Your Honor, the Kikuyu man lives just like the game of chess. The Kikuyu man being the king, just like in chess, and the wife being the queen, where the queen can move around all corners, can make all moves around all corners. The first, if this particular king has the first kids, has the first wife and the first kids, then in this case we would refer them as the rock. Those who play chess know the rock can participate with the king and can participate with the queen, unlike the bishop and the knights. So the bishop and the knights are referred to as our third, fourth, and fifth wife in a game of chess. And so the Kikuyu man believes and truly upholds the right of the first wife. He protects the first wife. He upholds his first kids because those are his first fruits. He does not look down upon all other kids, but in an event where he would want to make any movement or any judgment or anything regarding his own property or regarding his own will, he must include his first wife. He must include his first kids in an instance where the wives are dead. And so the Kikuyu man does not look down upon the first wife. Even if this particular first wife is deceased, so long as he has paid bride price, and above paying bride price, Your Honor, if this particular man has conducted the customary wedding, which we call kurega kiade or gurario in Kikuyu, this surpasses even a marriage certificate, because a marriage certificate can go under divorce, can be questioned and is divorceable. But in the Kikuyu custom, you cannot divorce a woman who you have married culturally and conducted gurario to. In case this particular wife becomes probably a cheater, this woman is normally given a piece of land, probably just near the gate. But even if he is given a piece of land near the gate, he's given a piece of land near the gate and this man stops having any intimacy with this particular lady. But the man allows the lady to have intimacy with any other man. But in case this lady gives birth, he names after this particular husband.
Yes.
So he doesn't lose the touch.
Actually, thank you for that point.
Yes.
I seem to have reorganized my thoughts. But
Yes.
thank you for your testimony.
Good.
You're going to be asked some few questions by my colleague,
Very
Mr.
good.
Biko.
Great.
A certificate, right?
No, this is a receipt.
It's a
An
receipt.
official receipt of membership.
Is it
Because,
certified, true copy of the original?
if
Is it certified? Just a yes or no? Is it certified copy of the original?
I would say, by virtue of fact, it has a membership number.
Yes.
It
Is
has-
it certified? That's the question, not the membership number. Is it certified, true copy of the original?
Being the Secretary General,
Is it certified?
it is certified.
True copy of the original by an
True copy
advocate?
of-
By an
not,
advocate?
not by an advocate, but it
Thank
is
you.
certified by our records.
Thank you. No, I'm not asking you about your records. I'm asking about certification by an advocate.
Yes.
Then you also have the certificate of registration
Yes.
issued by one Joseph Onyango.
Good.
When was this done?
This is back in 2021.
The date here, just capture the date exactly. At the bottom,
The date is 6th June 2020 is when we applied,
yes,
and it was certified as received
yes,
by the registrar
of societies.
of societies in 2021 in October.
What did you state was your rank in that
My
association?
rank is I am the Limuru Sub-County Chairperson,
You are Limuru County.
Limuru Sub-County
Sub-County.
Chairperson, and Kiambu Kiama Secretary General, Kiambu County.
When were you elected?
I was elected as Limuru Sub-County Chairperson 3 years ago. We served a term of 4 years.
So do you have evidence of that election before court?
I have evidence, but I was not asked to carry it because we have
You are
minutes.
an expert and you know what to do as an expert.
We have minutes that can be presented.
Do you have the minutes before court?
I have the minutes.
Do you have the minutes before
I
court?
have soft. I have
Do you
soft
have
copy
the minutes
meetings.
before court? I'm
If
asking
you
whether
require
have
them, I have them in soft. If you require them,
No,
I
I'm
have
not
soft
asking
copy
whether you have
meetings.
them in soft. I'm asking you whether you have them before court.
I have
Just
soft
say
copy
it.
minutes if required.
You don't have them. So let's just proceed again. How old are you?
I am 38 years old.
38 years old.
Yes.
which means you're born around 1987 or 86.
Yes.
Now, do you consider such a person an expert in culture, more particularly coming from veterinary medicine?
Oh, thank you so much. My passion in culture started way back. It's because I am born and bred in Kajiado,
Yes.
brought up by my grandfather.
Yes.
And so, first and foremost, for you to be elected or appointed as a chairperson, as a Kikuyu Council chairperson, you must have vast information, vast knowledge.
Yes.
We do not look at age, because even David in the Bible was picked from.
You are not David.
Yes,
You are
I'm
just-
not. But in our culture, we do not look at age. We look at how vast are you? How informed are you? What's your passion in culture? So I'm passionate in culture.
Yes.
I am very much willing, and I really do research in culture.
It's okay.
Surprisingly,
It's okay.
I'm
Oh, just leave it at that. Which school of culture or arts did you attend? University of Nairobi?
Oh, thank you.
Did you attend any?
We do not attend any cultural school because I believe
So you have no professional training in what culture is, correct?
I have certificates to prove that I've attended
Are they
seminars.
before court? Are they before court again? Are those certificates before court?
As
Are
Kikuyu,
they before court?
I
Simple
did,
question.
I did not present them.
Thank you.
I was not required to.
Let's proceed. Was Mburu Kinani a member of the Kiama wa Kiama, the person for whom we are before court? Was he a member?
I would wish to.
Was he a member, yes or no?
I would wish to state, like I said,
Yes.
I did not know the deceased.
Thank
I have
you.
never met the deceased,
So you don't know whether he was a member?
but I know he was a Kikuyu. And we do not only speak, we do not speak on behalf of our members. We speak on behalf of the Kikuyu people.
Thank you. On the same trend, you confirmed that you never saw him in any membership list of the Kiama Kiama. Well, how was he then bound by the dictates of Kiama wa Kiama if he was not a member?
I think I stated clearly. Maybe I should inform you what Kiama Kiama entails.
It's not his intention. Just listen.
Kiama Kiama entails.
Just listen.
The
Listen,
Kikuyu man.
listen, I'm the one asking the questions. Was Mburu Kinani bound by Kiama wa Kiama?
He was
Where
bound
he
by
was not
he was
a-
bound by culture, not Kiama Kiama. He was bound by our culture because he is a Kikuyu. By the
Because
name
he's a
Kimani
Kikuyu.
is a Kikuyu.
Thank you.
Yes.
Mungikis are members of the Kikuyu. Are they bound? Are you people bound to be aligned to them?
Mungiki is a cult,
Thank you.
so we are not a cult.
Is culture
We are an
part of
association.
cults? What about cults?
Kikuyu is not culture is not a cult.
Thank you.
There's
Let's
a difference
proceed.
between cult and culture.
You argue that since he was a Kikuyu, he was bound by culture.
Yes.
The foremost Kikuyu in this republic was Jomo Kenyatta,
Yes.
correct?
Yes.
Jomo Kenyatta was buried down here. Where was Kikuyu culture then? He was buried down here at Parliament Building. Where was Kikuyu culture then?
Good question. By the time Jomo Kenyatta was buried, the Kikuyu culture was still there. The Kikuyu culture was upheld, and the Kikuyu culture did not go wrong because, if I remember correctly, during Uhuru's time, Uhuru's tenure, the body was taken to the rightful place and buried as it was required because by the time he was not the head of state.
When Kenyatta was buried in 1978 at that time, was it operation of the law or the Kikuyu culture?
It was operation of the law because why? Like I stated from the word go, the Kikuyu culture does not fight with the law, does not fight with religion, does not fight with modernization.
Thank
The
you.
Kikuyu
And when
culture
it fights,
upholds.
and when it fights with the culture as it is about to do here, which one should supersede? When it fights with the
I don't see.
yes, which one should supersede? You are talking about the law. You are talking as if you are very informed about it.
Yes.
Which one should supersede?
Of course, the law of the country, the law of the country will, but at
Thank you. Leave it
the expense of
Just
the
leave it
culture,
that.
at the
Just leave
expense
it
of
at
the
that.
culture.
Just leave it at that.
Yes. When it comes to curses, the law will not help you.
Just leave it at that.
When you be fallen by a curse, the law will not help you.
Just leave it at that.
Yes.
Another prominent Kikuyu was Charles Njonjo. Was he
Yes.
cremated? Or was he buried?
That was his own will.
Thank you.
It was his will. He stated it in a will that he wanted to be cremated.
Thank you.
Yes.
The gentleman before this court, whose case we have before this court, has expressed not once and confirmed even by your witnesses here yesterday that he wanted to be buried in Gilgil. Why do you want to overturn that?
Thank you
At
so
the
much.
behest of culture.
Thank you so much for asking.
Yes.
we are not here to overturn, but we're here to guide. We're here to guide. Why? We are guiding because he being a Kikuyu, the rightfully place and the rightfully burial site for him is where his living dead are. Gilgil, if that's where they call Meteine, I do not think their living dead are in Gilgil.
Okay.
The living dead are maybe, where are they? Where are the living dead? In Gatanga. If they're in Gatanga, then he should be buried where his father and mother are buried.
A simple Langata cemetery here has a lot of people from the Kikuyu community.
Yes.
Why have they not been buried at their villages?
Most of them give their own will because the house the clan decides. Because what happens in a case where you do not have a big piece of land, you don't have a chunk of land, so the clan sits down and agrees. Let's go bury our beloved at Langata.
Don't you think those buried at Langata didn't have clans? Did they not have clans in your view? That cemetery is full.
Of course, the clan decided. The clan agreed to bury them there.
Thank you.
Yes.
Let's proceed. You also say that when a man marries a lady with children, then some ceremony, God ceremony, has to be done.
Yes.
Are you aware if Murukinani in his case did that as you people allege?
Like I said here, I do not know Morokinani. I just gave an expert direction of what should happen if a particular man was to marry a woman with kids. Whether he performed the ceremonies or not is not in my position. I was here to give guidance on what should be done. If it was not done, it's upon the family to sit down and go back on the drawing board and conduct the ceremonies. Because if you do not, the law will not help you. The task is going to befall you.
Thank you. The first defendant here is called Charles Buru. The first defendant in this case is a son.
Yes.
What is the place of the sons in the Kikuyu culture?
Is a son of what wife? The first, second, third, fifth, sixth?
How many wives were you told he has?
I do not know. But
So I've just told you that he's a son.
if he's a son to the first wife, then he holds the right to bury the father. If he's the son to the first wife,
Where there's no son in the first wife's house?
the daughter.
The daughter.
The daughter is also the eldest child.
Yes.
Yes.
And where there's no eldest child, like the first defendant is not the eldest child?
Where there is no
The first plaintiff is not the eldest child.
where there is no eldest child, we go for the second eldest child. Where there is no eldest, we go to the third and the fourth consecutively. We do not leave the first home and go seek for a first child in the second home, whereas we left some kids from the first home.
Thank you. Where a man separates with his wife for reasons of hostility, violence, blackmail, and all those wrongs, atrocities, what happens to such a man?
When a man decides, and I think I just explained, but I'm going to say it again. When a man decides to separate with his wife, he states it clearly, and he actually builds, at that particular time, if this particular man has conducted all cultural bridal prizes, has paid bridal price, because in Kikuyu you cannot say that a particular lady is your wife unless you pay bride price. So where this particular man has paid bride price, has gone to the foremost customary wedding, which we call Ngurario. This particular man calls his clan again. Why? Why is he calling his clan? Because he wants to inform the clan of why of a particular reason he wants to do. You must call your clan and say, now from today henceforth, I'm going to divorce my first wife. I'm going to separate from my first wife, and because I've married her customary, from today henceforth, I'm going to construct a house at that far end of the gate, and that will be her home from today.
Now, where a Kikuyu man weds in a Christian marriage and gets a marriage certificate,
Yes.
what is the position of the community on that marriage?
For us, like I said, we are first Kikuyus, and we do not fight with religion. So you can either be you can be a Kikuyu and a Christian at the same time. You can be a Kikuyu and a Muslim at the same time. You can be a Kikuyu and any other religion at the same time. And so we do not fight, but the Kikuyu culture does not recognize the church wedding as paramount as the customary wedding.
Thank you.
Yes.
Now, let's proceed. When Ngurukinani expressed his wish, does the culture have the power to overturn that?
When Murukinani expressed his wish, if the clan was present, if the clan was involved, if the first family was involved, if the eldest child was involved, then culture has nothing to do with it.
And where they are not involved?
Where they're not involved, culture comes in because that's where we give in guidance. That's where we guide.
Thank you. Is wealth and land central to such burials in Kikuyu culture?
Is wealth and land central
To burials?
to burials?
Yes.
Make your point more. Make your question more clear.
Is wealth and land central to burials in Kikuyu culture? It's a clear issue.
Oh, thank you. Wealth and land.
Yes.
A Kikuyu man normally shares his property many a times before death.
Yes.
And so it is not, the Kikuyu man does not intrigue or leave a vacuum or leave space of war, leave space of quarrel or leave space of trouble after his death. The Kikuyu man wishes to die and rest in peace.
Are you aware of the level of succession cases in this court alone over Kikuyu properties in this country?
Many, of
and your
course.
court user?
Many, of course.
Thank you. How
Many.
did they get to that point?
Very
If you
good.
say the community and its men share property before.
Very good. They get to that's a good question. They get to we have succession cases currently right now. Why? Because number one, the Kikuyu man today, not many of them are polygamous. Most of them are monogamous. And in such a case where many of them are monogamous, they tend to think or tend to assume that things will not be quarrelsome after his death. And so most of them assume. They assume calling for clan meetings because they have only one wife. So they do not presume a war after their death. And so looking at them, most of these succession cases are not in between the kids. They are either conjoined with the clan members. The kids can sit down and agree, but the clan members also wanted a share probably. The clan members also want to maybe downplay the kids, and so that's why we have many succession cases.
Thank you. Where a Kikuyu man sets out a graveyard in his compound,
Yes.
like in this case in Gilgil, how do you overturn that as a cultural issue?
Very good. As a cultural issue, when a particular man should state that, and I think I said it, when a particular man should state that, he should call his clansmen. If he doesn't call his clansmen, then it is null and void.
Where is the last man standing? In situations where is the last one standing, or the senior most at that point?
The last man.
Does he call people who don't exist?
Good question. If you like I said, the Kikuyu culture is vast. If your wives are gone, if your wives are deceased, if your first wife is deceased, then you have the first kids of your first wife. If you have no kids, particularly you have no kids with the first wife, then you have your clansmen. But you cannot stretch all the way to the second or fourth or sixth or eighth wife, leaving your clansmen. You have your clansmen are your brothers and your sisters.
And
They have a right over you.
Where he chooses to bury his last surviving wife, does it have a bearing?
It doesn't.
It doesn't.
It doesn't have.
Thank you.
It doesn't have. Actually, not only his last wife, it has no bearing where he chooses to bury his wives.
Yes.
It only has a bearing where his parents are buried.
Thank you. Now, a 92-year-old, can a 92-year-old be buried on the same property and the same compound as his parents?
Yes, he can, because regardless of
What are the
of
exceptions?
age,
What are the
regardless-
exceptions? What are the exceptions?
There are no exceptions.
There are no exceptions.
Regardless of age, he remains the key. He remains a key to those parents,
Yes. Even if he has his own
But-
home and his own gate?
even if he has his own home and his own gate.
Thank you.
Yes.
Now, are you an expert in video technology, by any chance?
I'm not an
You
expert
an
in
expert?
video. I'm not an expert in video
Thank
video coverage or the likes.
Thank you so much. Just leave it at that.
But I'm quite conversant with them. I'm not new to videos.
You talked about theology and religion and the conflict with the Kikuyu culture, and you say they intermarry,
Yes.
correct?
Yes.
Is there a time when religion and modernity are ousted from culture when people are being buried?
If I remember very well.
Like, can we wish away your church?
If I remember very well, the Kikuyu man has always been godly.
Mm.
The Kikuyu man has never wished away his church.
Yes.
The Kikuyu man has never wished away his culture. The Kikuyu man has never wished away the law of the land. The Kikuyu man is loyal to the law, is loyal to the church, is loyal to his culture. And so these three do not fight when it comes to Kikuyu. And that's why even in burials, we normally have service ceremonies, church ceremonies first, then later the family is given the privilege to bury the deceased. And so we do not fight. And we must seek a burial permit from the government. And that shows that the Kikuyu does not fight with the law.
Now, you made references to cases of SMO, which
Yes.
I don't trust you know much about.
I've read enough. I've read enough about it. I've read enough about it.
Thank you. You've also been told that you're fairly young, that you're 38 years old,
Yes.
and in essence you should not be guiding people.
Yes.
And you were about to give us an analogy of David.
Yes.
And I mean, all of us also have the desire to be these Bible characters,
Yes.
given the vulgarities of life.
True.
Now, tell me exactly why you were elected in these positions,
Good.
and why, by being despite 38 years of age,
Yes.
you can stand here as an expert.
Thank you so much. I was elected and appointed by a group of over 200 men in Limuru Sub-County. They did not elect me based on my age. They elected me based on my vast knowledge in culture, my vast knowledge in our cultural practices. I perform cultural practices. My vast knowledge in eloquence in Kikuyu, my vast knowledge in delivering and carrying out cultural practices, and above all, gone are the days when Kikuyus would only go to the bush where we conduct our ceremonies to eat and drink. The Kikuyu today is modern. The Kikuyu today is also seeking to be professional. And so I was also elected on the basis of being interested in researching Kikuyu from elderly people.
Thank you.
Yes.
No, honestly, sitting from my standpoint, I do not see anything wrong with your testimonies today, but
Yes.
have you known of a group called Simbi Simbi by the Kisses?
I know Simbi. I've heard since Mongeke, and that's why I said Mongeke is a cult and should not in any way be related to the Kikuyu.
Thank you.
Yes.
They only share the same language, isn't it?
Yes. Yes.
Perhaps now you can be a bit louder.
My name is Patrick Kiruta Kimani.
Identify yourself the way you identify yourself.
I am a Kikuyu elder, and the way we put it in Kikuyu is I am from Muhirega of Agavigia, Bari ya Morage, rika rĩa Maina, and I am a Mutonyi. Mutonyi is a person who elaborates and tells people.
You are what?
A Mutonyi.
Speak louder.
Which means what?
It's like equivalent to an advocate in law realms. Or a preacher in a church.
So your exact role in the Kiama is to do what? Is to basically you can say it's to teach and
Yeah, my role in Kiama is to educate the Kikuyu community on basically the law and order
okay.
of the traditions.
Now you wrote a statement with us that was a little bit very brief, but you're an expert witness. I was not required anyway to provide it, but now we have to.
Yes, I did.
Is this your ID number?
Yes, that's my idea.
Thank you. Your Honor, that is the statement appearing at page 17 on my list of witness statements. Would you let the court to take says that you are able to read what Mr. Mohia Minor shared in his last statement, and you said that you agree with what he's saying?
Absolutely.
And is that your position today, or is that or it has changed?
It is.
Now let's go directly to the dispute at hand, and I have been able to sieve out very a very small portion of the things I want you to discuss about, given that you've had an elaborate explanation from your predecessor. Now, I want you to talk to us about a person who is an Agikuyu by culture, or by tribe, by ethnic identification, who conducts traditional ceremonies and is also a church member. What can you say about that person?
A person who is typically a Kikuyu by tradition.
Yes.
In the Kikuyu setup, there are people who are called Watonyi,
Yes.
who conduct such ceremonies, especially the ceremonies that regard to the community in general. But if it is a ceremony that regards specifications from the family, then the family chooses who to conduct such ceremonies.
Yes, so in this case, and I will probably tell you in front of anyone, that the person we are here to discuss about, in the year last year, if I'm not wrong, in last year or 2023, he conducted a blessing ceremony for his youngest daughter, and he drank Muratina, and he also blessed them with the meat that comes from a particular ram.
There is evidence coming from him. No one saw Murukinani taking Muratina anywhere.
Your Honor, everybody was in court here when this gentleman gave evidence. And his particular words were, he partook.
Listen, Mr. Kimanjuru. Muratina is coming for the first time in court from you.
Your Honor, what is a Gikuyu here in honest sense? Is it task, I mean?
Mr. Baker, please don't address your colleague directly. If you have an objection,
It's okay. I do object to the line of argument evidence coming from him is unacceptable in the law, and more particularly reference to Muratina never came from anyone. The record does not bear Muratina out anywhere.
Thank you, Your Honor. Much guided by the sentiments of my colleague. Now, can you tell us what is the traditional brew for Kikuyus?
Yeah, there is a traditional brew for Kikuyu specifically to do such rituals, and the name of the brew is Muratina.
Thank you. Now, when a man goes to bless his daughter, what drink does he use?
He uses that brew called Muratina.
Thank you. Is a goat also involved in that ceremony?
Yes, usually there is no ceremony that involves a family ritual without a goat.
Thank you. Now, the person in question here conducted a ceremony of that kind for his daughter, and you're also being told that he has been a very staunch Christian and extremely walking in the paths of glory. But is there any conflict between being an Agikuyu man and a church, even if you're a church elder, even if you're a church priest?
No, the difference is this here. Only that a person who is a Kikuyu by tribe, like myself, is also a Christian. So there is no clear distinction that you may say that now that I'm a Kikuyu, I am not a Christian. And here I stand before this honorable court because I'm a Christian and I'm a Kikuyu elder.
Thank you go to church regularly on Sundays. Is that your evidence here?
Yes, I do.
Which church do you belong to?
Catholic.
Does that stop you from being a member of Kiama and being specifically a Motoni?
It doesn't. In fact, it complements.
Thank you. Now, let us go to something that is called divorce. Okay?
Yeah.
Now, when you have married traditionally a woman and you wish to divorce that woman, what usually happens?
If you marry a lady and later you wish to divorce her, usually it does not come from the man who married. It usually comes from the household of the man, the lady.
Now, there are certain circumstances, because I also understand that from what we've heard, that the culture, it's so vast, isn't it? And there are situations whereby a man would specifically say that this is no longer my wife. What is he supposed to do, or which kind of people are supposed to be there when he's saying that?
In such a situation where a man now declares that this is no longer my wife, it is usually done by the clan.
Yes.
Because no, the woman married to a certain man, in Kikuyu we say that she was married using the word bought, although it doesn't really mean buying. She was bought by the man and the clan, and there is no division on that. So the woman belongs to the clan.
Now tell us about you've divorced, let's say you call and let's say the clan has divorced that particular woman. Now, is there a house that is built at the gate, just...
Yeah,
Sorry, let me rephrase that. Let's say, for example, that you have divorced a woman, and this is a woman that you finished all the rights that come with marriage, regarding even getting to the last point of what I've heard him call Gotinya Kiade.
When you have reached to such a point where you have done all the rituals and ceremonies involved in marrying a woman, usually there is no divorce. What you usually say, in fact, within your homestead, where a small hut is built with the door facing from the outside, so that any person who may be willing to have a share of that lady in terms of love making can do it, but still, she still arguably remains your wife, and you betroth her all that is needed.
Thank you. Now, and I want you now to tell me to give us an opinion. In this case, and I'm speaking as someone who's acquainted with the facts, we are talking about a man called Mboro Kenani, okay? Yeah. And Mboro Kenani in 2018 buried his first wife. What do you make? What is the symbolism? What is the symbolic implication of that?
In my own opinion,
yes.
Number one, that was quite sad of him.
Yes. Okay, so when I say buried, I don't mean he killed her.
Yeah.
Sorry, I now understand where I went wrong. He conducted. Okay, the wife died, and the wife was buried, and she was buried in a portion of land where he had gifted her, and that is where she's buried today. Okay. This gentleman attended the funeral. So what do you say in terms of symbolism? Can you say that that was not the wife or anything?
Okay, I understand your question now. To begin with,
yes.
When a man loses a wife, and I suggest this is the case, he notifies his homestead, his family and clan. That is the first step. And along the way, the man takes the lead role in the preparation and burial of that wife. Like, for example, showing where the deceased is supposed to be buried.
Correct.
Secondly, taking in consideration the children born to him by that deceased person, that they acknowledge and agree with what the man of the house has decided in close consultation with the clan.
So for all intents and purposes, is it correct to say that that remains the wife?
Yeah, that shows, such indications shows that that is the bona fide wife of
Thank
that
you.
man.
Thank you. Now let us go to the third item for discussion. We've been told of a situation whereby a man marries a woman with children, and we've also been told that there's a necessity that comes with birthing those children by a goat.
Yeah.
And the implication is to break ties, I believe. That is what I picked from Mr. Moher. To break ties with the other family. Now, can you tell us why that is important?
Yes, it is very important because children born within a certain marriage are directly related by blood. They are named after the parents of the same parent who born them, and therefore the ongoing life, even after death of such children, still remains with the ties of their ancestors. In case children are born without the marriage of the man, there is always that ratio that is supposed to be conducted, so that you break the ties from the former family. Otherwise, if you don't do that, there will always be chaos, and there will always be fight, diseases, so many atrocities that will come if you don't break ties, because it will always be like there is a tug of war between the former and the latter. So that ratio ceremony is very important in order for, number one, to break the ties, and number two, to betroth that family the clanship or muherega in Kikuyu.
Of who the...
Yeah, the children born out of that wedlock,
Yes.
and now have been introduced to this family, must be, we usually say, born again, not bought.
Yes.
Born again with a ratio using a goat, so that you break the ties in between the former family that they were or they had,
Yes.
and then come to the new family, and in that case be given the clanship or moherega.
Thank you. Now let's go to something now that is directly relevant to that. Now, I also want to get into this particular case. What is the position of those children out of wedlock, or rather not of that particular man, and who have not been birthed again, you know, being accepted and being brought into that clan of that man? What right do they have in the form of burial when it comes to the man who has died?
They have, I may not say that they don't have absolutely no role, but
you.
I would say that
Thank you.
the role of such children are minimal, and they are now made to agree with the larger clan, especially decisions made by the immediate family
Thank you.
of the first wife.
Thank you. Now, from what I can also pick is that basically Kikuyu is, the Kikuyu culture is also, you know, logic in nature. You know, it's logic of consequence. And now, I want I want you to tell us about a church wedding and its place when you juxtapose it with the Agikuyu, or rather giving out the bride, and the importance of any,
Yeah.
Yes.
A church wedding, which is usually very exciting, extremely exciting maybe, is not very much different from the Kikuyu traditional wedding, in that, number one, there are vows to take. Number two, there is the family of the lady getting married, betrothing the family that is marrying the girl. Those are similarities in both ends.
Yes.
The ratio, the Christian ratio, is done strictly with the Christian system way of life, but the traditional Kikuyu is that there is always an obligation that every bit of the way must be followed. So, in essence, you can be married in the Kikuyu traditional way of life and get married into the Christian way of life, and there is no conflict of interest or law in both.
Thank you very much. Now, with your kind permission, I want us to watch a very short video, and I want you to tell us the importance of that ceremony. Yona, this is the video I believe I shared with my colleague on the morning of the 9th, if I'm not wrong. And I'll just skip it because it's quite late. It's about 30 minutes long, so and we don't have that time. Not where he's to be buried.
The clan takes a lead role because the clan is involved in all the rituals and ceremonies in a family. And now that they are also involved even in the last bit of the marriage ceremony, that is Gutinia Kiade, they have a lot to determine where the deceased or the married would be buried.
Therefore, thank you. Therefore, if he was to speak as to where he wanted to be buried, who would ordinarily be, let's say, in that meeting or whatever, where he wishes to discuss his burial wishes?
The man would take the lead. The man would be the person in question, that is being the person who is being asked and giving directives, but it is the clan who share and shed the right on whether or not it was done in the right way.
Thank you.
So the clan takes the lead role.
Thank you very much. I beg to stop there. I will hand you over to my colleague who is going to ask you some few questions. So kindly cooperate so that also.
Overturn clear and unequivocal wishes of a deceased person.
Come again.
Can Kikuyu culture supersede or overturn wishes of a person?
I would say it would, because all the things that are done through Kikuyu traditions are negotiated, they are immutable, they are universal in as far as Kikuyu clan is concerned. So any overturning of such a decision would jeopardize the traditions.
Thank you. Do individuals have wishes within the Kikuyu community, for instance?
Yes, they do.
What is the place of wishes under Kikuyu culture?
The place of wishes under Kikuyu culture is that anything that you may wish to do must be guided by three major principles in Kikuyu culture.
Yes.
That number one, it prohibits you to do wrong. In Kikuyu we say mugiro. That is prohibiting you, even if you wish so, it's okay, as long as it does not prohibit you to up to the task of the Kikuyu tradition. Then number two is that if you do that, you will now be subjected to some kind of atrocities, and that is what we call dhahu. And lastly, if you continue doing it and you had been prohibited before, then you get to the last resort where you now get the curse. That
Now,
is
this is
Keru.
a dead man. We are talking about a dead
Yes,
man. We are not
yes.
talking about people who are alive. His wishes are that he be buried in Gilgil in this case.
Funny enough, even in Kikuyu,
Yes.
even if he's a dead person,
Yes.
the wishes and the way of life of Kikuyu doesn't change. A person who is factually dead,
Yes.
as what we believe, is guided by the spirits of those who are alive or those who died before.
I heard you say that age has no significance under Kikuyu culture,
Age.
as asked by my colleague.
Mhm.
Why then do we have age sets under the Kikuyu culture?
Age sets and age groups are levels of how a person, a Kikuyu person, live and how they are brought about. When I said that age does not matter, I was specifically speaking on the issue of if I am 40 years old, that does not prohibit me from getting to the last resort of the marriage, like Kutilia Kerde. For example, I am not as old as this man was, but I have also undergone that process. I did that a few years back, and so therefore, in that regard, age does not matter. What matters is the ability, the permission by the clan, and the willingness and the ability of the person who is doing such a ceremony.
Thank you. Where a man has got his home under Kikuyu culture and has created a graveyard within his compound, can you overturn that using your culture?
And did you say engrave or have
Place-
carved a place
carved a
where you
site
can
for
do a
burial
burial
of family
site?
members, yes.
Usually that would be very hard because
Thank you. Leave it
because
at that.
was used
Leave it at
in
that.
all.
Was he
What?
your member? Simple question. Was he your
Yes, yes.
member? Yes.
Definitely.
Membership number?
In Kiama Kiama, we usually don't talk of membership number. This is not a political entity. It's like you are now counting the number. It's like in a church, you cannot say that I am church member number this or number that, because it is something that is always changing. Somebody can be in a member of Kiama Kiama and they can be deceased in the
Do you
next
have any
year.
evidence that he was your member?
Yes, the evidence that I would place before this honorable court is that all the things that are in relation to her
Between 487 and 0725 542 423 be supplied to council and ourselves, and also for the benefit of this court. You know, I do not wish to argue the application because I do not believe I have the permission to do that, but that is essentially what we are seeking for. It has been grounded on Article 31 and 35 of the Constitution.
Mr. Biko will take, the court might be compelled to hear the application.
Yes.
So I'll be very, I'll make very spare comments on it because if, for example, he goes and takes directions that they are opposed, then as a referee, I will have to hear both of you.
Yes.
Then during that hearing, we shall consult the law,
Yes.
including those previous cases where scenarios like those have arisen, and then make a finding. The second scenario is where now it seeks instructions and they say they are not opposed. Ideally, from my little experience, the best scenario for Safaricom now to act quickly would be even a simple recording of a consent. Because the data is a two-way traffic. Remember, there's the sender and the recipient. And both of them have a right to protection of information. So it will be a lot easier for Safaricom now to tell us that having seen the consent between the conversations between these parties, we have no problem because they have no worry that someone could sue them. So it would be a lot easier to obtain that kind of data from Safaricom. We won't say much. Your colleague has sought for 48 hours. Let him take instructions. Then, given that much of what is left of this case now depends slightly on that move, a mention I would still request this week, because the court's intention is to hear this matter as soon as it's possible. Normally from next week, I'm likely to be busier, and I know beautifully the two of you appear before me. You know the nature of cases we deal with. For the simple reason that you're just taking instructions. Yes. Let's have a mention on Thursday. It will inform our next move in terms of court directions.
If